Hey guys, and welcome to episode number 86 of Diehlman at Halftime, the NBA podcast that tops all others. I'm your host, Larry Diehlman, joined by my co-host, Chris DiPietro. If you're joining us for the first time, it's great to have you, and if you've been a regular listener, welcome back. We have a lot to cover today and not a lot of time to do it. We'll look at a general overview of the NBA this week and then discuss some important topics across the association. Let's get to our content for the week. The biggest story this week in the NBA was that the Chicago Bulls retired Derrick Rose's jersey on Saturday after their big win over Boston. Derrick Rose is a Chicago native and he played for his hometown team from 2008 to 2016 after going number one overall in the 2008 draft. Derrick Rose had a great start to his career. He was named MVP in 2011. He was a three-time All-Star, made an All-NBA first team, and in his rookie year, he made the All-Rookie first team and was named Rookie of the Year. And he was even the youngest MVP in league history at just 22 years old and 7 months. Unfortunately, knee injuries destroyed his career. Despite the fact that he was the youngest MVP, he tore his ACL in the 2012 playoffs, sidelined for the entire 2012-13 season, returned for about 10 games in 2013-14, and then injured his meniscus. So those few years just did not go his way. And then he bounced around the league a couple times. Knicks, Cavs, Timberwolves, Pistons, and Grizzlies before hanging up his sneakers in 2024. So, Chris, the Bulls right now, a nice list of characters that have a retired jersey number. Derrick Rose joins Jerry Sloan, Bob Love, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and also non-players, but the Bulls have also retired jerseys for Phil Jackson, Jerry Krause, and Johnny Kerr. An interesting career for D Rose. Injuries destroyed what could have been a Hall of Fame career. And I saw a quote from Draymond Green that I thought was a bit interesting. He said that D Rose means more to the city of Chicago than Michael Jordan, despite the fact that Michael Jordan gave the Bulls all six of their rings.
Well, I don't know how true that is for Draymond, but it's undeniable how big of an impact D Rose has had on the city, and I think that was put on display for this jersey retirement. It was just such a beautiful moment. I'm such a sucker for trophy presentations and award speeches and just athletes getting their flowers. I think it's such a beautiful, emotional thing, and D Rose's jersey retirement might have just topped anything like that I've ever seen. This dude has every reason to be mad at the world, to be sour about the way that his career played out, to be angry, to be jealous. But he just seemed absolutely floored, humbled, appreciative of all this. It was just such a beautiful moment. I love the moment he had talking about Tibbs. Obviously, head coach at the time, Tom Thibodeau, had D Rose unnecessarily in the game late in an uncompetitive game, which led to the first of many major injuries for D Rose, which ultimately derailed his career. But just like before, D Rose had every reason to be mad at Tibbs. And the world did. The world hated Tibbs for what he did. But D Rose literally said, that, like, you're the first coach that made me feel special. And that was just one of many beautiful moments on this beautiful occasion that really showed that D Rose had admirably made peace with his career, which a lot of guys probably wouldn't have done in his situation. And he had clearly reached a point in his life where he was just grateful for all of it. And I think that's the most beautiful thing of them all, the fact that he was able to get to that point. He was repeatedly talking to his kids throughout the whole speech, and you could just tell how impactful he's been on his kids' lives. And, they were crying the whole time. And, I don't think you'd see so many kids in that scenario being so emotional. But Derrick Rose's kids were so emotional for him. And, they're not even really at the age where they quite understand the magnitude of what exactly is going on. And yet they were so emotional for their dad. And that just is showing the truth of how good D Rose has been in his kids' lives and how mature he's become. And this honestly just might have cemented D Rose as one of my favorite players. I got emotional just watching it from my computer. It was just such an awesome moment. And you can just tell D Rose is just such an awesome human being, and he deserved every bit of this.
Yeah, definitely deserved this after a career that I think it's pretty fair to say he might be the biggest what if scenario in NBA history, if not top three, just with the way his career went off the rails in the early 2010s. And he bounced around the league for a couple times. He goes to the Knicks. I think he had two stints there. Just didn't work out everywhere else, and I think he was on the Pistons when they were awful, not the Pistons that we know now, but definitely good to see him get his flowers in Chicago. And I think the Draymond quote, the more I think about it, he probably meant that he means more to the city of Chicago than MJ just because he's that hometown kid and he means so much to the city. Michael Jordan will never be topped as Chicago's greatest asset. I mean, six championships is something that cannot be replicated. I mean, we're seeing it. We saw it with the Kobe Lakers. He couldn't get two three-peats, and we're seeing it now. Potentially a Thunder dynasty starting, and who knows if that'll happen. But Derrick Rose definitely one of the biggest what ifs of all time, and it's good to see him get his jersey retired. This episode is entitled Heating Up. So, who's raising eyebrows at the moment?
All right, so we're about at the midway point of this NBA season, and we're approaching the All-Star weekend and all the festivities going on with that. So we felt this would be an apt time to run through our midseason awards. We are not projecting the award winners. We are saying if the season ended right now, today, who would be our award winners, our MVP, our defensive player, our rookie of the year, and so on. So, Larry, if you'd like to kick us off with your mostly 2025 and a month through 2026 MVP of the NBA season.
What's interesting about these awards, and before we go on, just a quick note, what makes these NBA awards difficult nowadays, as of the last year or two, is when the NBA implemented the 65 game rule.
Ugh.
So basically, what this means is that players have to play a minimum of 65 games to be eligible for major awards. And this obviously, with injuries, that kind of throws a wrench into some of these award winners. And this is supposed to basically get rid of load management as teams have done so frequently nowadays. It's supposed to encourage the players to be active in more games or just be as healthy as possible and not just skip games, oh, because I don't feel like it tonight. With that being said, for my MVP pick, I am going with a candidate that's pretty obvious. He's on one of the best teams in the league. I'm going with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Nikola Jokic would probably be running away with this award by a country mile, but he is most likely going to be ineligible because of this 65 game threshold. I think he has another game or two before that threshold goes into effect. So as of right now, the MVP race probably down to just SGA, Luca, and Jaylen Brown, just the way those three have been playing. And SGA, he's been consistent. He's helped the Thunder, carried a big load because Jalen Williams has been in and out of the lineup pretty frequently this season. He missed a good part of their really good start when they went like 24-1 to start the year. J Dub was pretty much absent with injury, so SGA has been doing a great job keeping the Thunder afloat. And obviously, the Thunder are still the best team in the league by a pretty wide margin, with the exception of the Pistons. But in the Western Conference, it's still the Thunder's to lose. SGA going for MVP.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you here. He's the runaway favorite at the moment. Now, I do take a little bit of issue with saying that Jokic would be running away with it. I think that's a little ridiculous to say. I think it would be a
He'd be he'd
closer
be he'd be
race.
top he'd be top two and probably not two.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it'd be real tight, just like it was last year. But Shea's my MVP. Like you said earlier, with the 65 game rule, that's going to make it tough for Joker to make this a competitive race. But really, there's no other major candidates. We've talked about Jaylen Brown and Luka Doncic, but they're not on Shea's level.
Giannis ain't getting it because the Bucks are barely out of the play-in tournament too.
Well, yeah, that's well. And who knows if he'll play 65 games? Probably not. Yeah, he might already be below that threshold at this point. He's missed a lot of games this year, but Shea's also my midseason MVP. He had one of the best seasons for a guard in NBA history last year, and I think he's playing even better this year. Somehow he gets any shot he wants. He just has total control of the game, total command. He's shooting better this season and turning the ball over less than he did last year, which just feels impossible. And yeah, honestly, there's not a whole lot to say here, and not a whole lot of competition either for Shea. It's unfortunate Jokic got hurt because we'd probably be looking at another very competitive MVP race, but with his injury, even though he's coming back soon, it's looking unlikely for Joker. Yeah, Shea is just having another unbelievable season, and he's only 27 years old. We're just seeing the beginning of Shea. He's gonna be one of the greatest guards of all time, if not, he's probably won already. And yeah, this is just the start of a legendary arc for Shea, and we're probably looking at his second MVP here. So he's just having an incredible season. We'll move on here to Defensive Player of the Year, and I'll kick this one off for us with maybe a bit of a surprise. My Defensive Player of the Year is currently 30 to 1 in the Defensive Player of the Year odds on FanDuel right now, behind Chet Holmgren, Victor Wembanyama, and Rudy Gobert. He's the league leader in steals and blocks combined stocks. He's currently leading a top three defense in the NBA, the unquestioned anchor of the Toronto Raptors defense, Scotty Barnes.
Why was I figuring you were going in this direction?
He's the depoy, bro. He has been unreal this year. He really doesn't have a whole lot of other great defenders around him, which the guys above him can't say, especially Chet Holmgren, who plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are just filled to the brim with elite defenders, who is also the odds-on favorite for some reason. I don't think Chet Holmgren should be the odds-on favorite. I mean, he's a minus. The odds on him are minus. I mean, he's a pretty clear favorite here on FanDuel halfway through the season. I think that's kind of a little crazy. I mean, Chet's an unreal defender, but Scotty is building quite the case here for Defensive Player of the Year. Speaking of Chet Holmgren, Scotty Barnes probably had one of the biggest defensive plays of the season up to this point, blocking Chet Holmgren's game-winning shot attempt as the Raptors steal one in Oklahoma City. He has 8 clutch time blocks this season. That leads the league. He truly guards 1 through 5. A lot of guys claim that they do, but he really does it. You turn on a Raptors game. When you turn on all these other franchise players' games, it's mostly the scoring that stands out. That's what makes franchise players franchise players. That's what makes superstars superstars. You turn on the game, they have 30. When you turn on a Raptors game, the most astounding thing you watch, the most amazing thing when you turn on a Raptors game is how good Scotty Barnes has been on defense. He is just an absolute menace out there. You can't breathe with Scotty Barnes in your grill. Like I said earlier, he leads the league in stocks, the leader of a top three defense. I was shocked to see the Raptors are a top three defense. I knew they were up there, but top three, I think that's even gone up in the last day or two. They have just been incredible this year. And again, he really doesn't have a lot of great defenders around him. And again, top three in the league in defense. I think this is going to become a progressively more popular case. I don't know if Scotty Barnes will ever be the favorite. Who knows if he'll win it, but I think we're gonna start hearing Scotty Barnes' name in Defensive Player of the Year discussions more and more as the season goes on. He's my Defensive Player of the Year so far through half the season.
His play has definitely led to the rise of the Toronto Raptors in the Eastern Conference standings. I believe, as of this recording, they're above teams like the Knicks. And everybody was thinking the Knicks were going to run the East this year, and the Celtics were going to be ass, and the Pistons. Well, who knows about them? And the Knicks, and the Raptors just come on in, and Scotty Barnes has definitely been a big factor in that, and Brandon Ingram has risen to the occasion as well. But Scotty Barnes on defense, yeah, I did see I saw a clip online where he blocked a Chet jump shot, and I'm like, wow, that's something else. That's something else indeed.
He's made so many plays late in games. It's especially apparent late in games, Scotty Barnes' defense. He really kicks it up a notch, and he is the last dude you want to be playing against in a close game. Again, he's just been unreal. That block on Chet was unreal. He's just been so much fun to watch on defense this year. I mean, you have to give it to centers some years. Centers are typically the anchor of the defense, but Scotty Barnes as a big wing has been the anchor of Toronto's defense, and he's just been amazing.
My defensive player of the year pick is going to be a little more vanilla, Well, I'm going with the alien himself, Victor Wembanyama. He's always a monster in the paint and on the perimeter. As Chris said, a lot of guys claim to be guarding the 1 to 5 spot. Victor Wembanyama can guard the 1 to 5 spot in his sleep with his eyes closed, still averaging just under 3 blocks a game. And this is while he was coming off the bench recently for precautionary reasons. He was coming back from an injury. He is now back in the starting lineup for the Spurs. Spurs are still second in the West behind the Thunder. And Victor Wembanyama has just always been a problem for opposing teams, and he will continue to be a problem in the near future and beyond. So I will be going with Victor Wembanyama. Let's go to Rookie of the Year. And I think this one was a little more cut and dry to start the year. We all were just, Cooper Flag, no questions asked. He is
Well,
the
before the year, you mean?
well, yeah. Before the year, it was more cut and dry, and he was one of the best prospects of all time, and he was going to take the Mavericks to new heights, and the Mavericks were just going to steamroll the league with Anthony Davis and Cooper Flag, and then once Kyrie Irving comes back too, I'm going to tweak this a little bit just because somebody's been doing really well, despite the fact that they are playing for a not so great at the moment, but could be in the future Eastern Conference team, and I'm going with the Charlotte Hornets. I'm going with Con Knipple.
I was
So
hoping you'd pick
Con
Khan.
Knipple has been the surprise of the league this season. Both he and Cooper Flag averaging about 18 points a game as rookies, but Knipple is shooting more efficiently. Interestingly enough, or more so ironically, both the Hornets and the Mavericks are 12th in their respective conferences. So not much in terms of rise in the standings, but both are kind of leaning on their rookies. And Khan has had multiple double doubles in recent games in points and rebounds. I believe he's only 6'6", so him grabbing all those rebounds definitely a big factor next to LaMelo Ball. Charlotte right now only about 3.5 games out of the play-in tournament. If they make a run, they could grab one of those, maybe the 9 or 10 seed. I'd be more willing to bet on the 10 seed for them. They still have to get past the Bucks, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is a very tough man to bet against. But considering he is being led by Doc Rivers and it is Giannis and friends, Charlotte could have a chance to show their young core that it is their time to shine in the play-in tournament. So Con Knipple for Rookie of the Year.
First off, I want no Charlotte Hornets strays right now because they're playing some great basketball as of late. They just beat our Sixers by like 50 points, it felt like.
No, it was literally a 50-point lead at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, I think Maxey had a whopping 6, so that's nice to see. But yeah, Charlotte's been playing really well lately. Their offense is just kind of nuts. It's just kind of crazy to watch. They really do have a lot of talent, and they've just been such a fun team to watch. Con Knipple's been a big part of that. The emergence of Con Knipple. He's been amazing this year. He's just a lights out shooter already. He already has a really good feel for the floor, when to cut, when to get to his spots. He's already kind of a plus rebounder at this point, which you mentioned and wasn't exactly a glaring thing on his scouting report. But yeah, he's just been awesome this year. He's been the Hornets' maybe second best player this year. Honestly, there's probably an argue that he's been their best player. That's how good he's been out the gate here. But I'm gonna go with the other guy in the rookie of the year race right now because it really seems like it's a two-man race right now. You have Con Knipple and Cooper Flag, and then it's VJ Edgecombe. Then it's like Derek Queen, Cedric Coward, Dylan Harper. But I think there's a clear two right now. You took Con as your rookie of the year. I'm gonna take Cooper Flag. Yeah, Flag had a bit of a tumultuous start to the season. I think Jason Kidd was trying to make Flag something he's not, which is this, or at least something he's not yet, as this floor general point guard, bring up the ball 80% of the time, make
Try,
something happen with the offense.
trying to make him into Luca Light.
Yeah, and that's just not who he is. And Kidd has kind of gone away from that in the second half of this first half of the season, the second quarter of this season. Kidd's kind of gone away from that and kind of let Flag be Flag. And he's really been turning up the heat in the last couple of weeks. He's averaging 19, 6, and 4 right now. But if you look at his stats just from the last month or so, it's a lot more than 18 points a game. He's shooting a lot better than he did. He also had a pretty rough start to the season, shooting wise. But you can just tell when you put on a Mavericks game, like he is legit. Like this is like we are going to be talking about Cooper Flag as one of the 10 best players in the league like pretty soon. He's big. He's really starting to get a better feel for getting to his spots. He will just take you off the dribble and drive right past you, or he'll find his little 15-foot midi. Again, the three's not really falling as much as you'd like so far to start this season, like Con Knipples has. I think he's just made maybe the slightly bigger impact on the Mavericks this year than Khan has on the Hornets. Flag is just doing everything for them right now. I think he's their leading scorer, rebounder, assister. And I think he leads them in either blocks or steals too. It's just crazy. He clearly has some room to grow. He's clearly not a finished product, but he is learning quickly. And I see a lot of Jason Tatum when I watch him, and like again, like just watching him play, like he already looks pretty damn close. And we're saying that about a dude who just turned 19 like a couple of weeks ago. Like this is just unreal.
Just like Tatum, just like
Yeah,
Tatum. They're both 19. They're both
listen.
19.
I know they're both 19, so maybe a flag is on Tatum's current career trajectory at this point. But we talk about Tatum as one of the best players in the league, and then Flag is like again shades of Jason Tatum already. He just looks like a superstar. Where Khan has been unreal, but I don't think Khan has shown flashes of reaching the heights of Flag, and Flag's really been putting it together over the last month. So he's my rookie of the year. Again, super tight race. They are like neck and neck. I'll move on here to our sixth man of the year. This one's a little murky as to who's the leader in the sixth man of the year boat race at the moment. There's a couple guys that have some solid cases. But I'm gonna go with the guy who I felt has had the biggest impact on his team, a very winning team in the Western Conference. I think he's third in the odds right now. I think he should be over Naz Reid, who might be yours, but my sixth man of the year is Keldon Johnson. He's having the best year of his career so far. His true shooting percentage is the highest it's ever been. He's shooting the balls as efficiently as ever. He's taking kind of less ill-advised pull-up jump shots, which was a bit of an issue. His shot selection had always been a little bit of an issue. He's gotten that under control, and he's shooting better than ever. His offensive rebound percentage is as high as it's ever been, and that's just not some stat. Like you turn on a Spurs game, and he is making a really big impact on the board, which they really need, especially when Wemby's not out on the floor because San Antonio, despite having Wemby, is really not a big team. But Keldon Johnson he plays big, and they need him to. And I think that should be a big motivating factor in choosing your sixth man of the year. I think they should really be a player, maybe not just with the most counting stats, but a player that really is necessary for the team's success and gels in a way where that team needs them. And that's exactly what Keldon Johnson is for the Spurs. The Spurs would be in a tough spot without him. He's made a huge impact on that team this year. And I think he's just 13 points a game, 6 boards and an assist, but that 13 and 6 goes a long way when you turn on a Spurs game. He's my sixth man of the year. I feel like he has the biggest impact of all the players in the race at the moment.
So you think that I went with Naz Reid? Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe. I was just advising you before I potentially dissed your sixth man of the year, so
Okay, okay.
let's hear it.
So my sixth man of the year is of course Naz Reid.
Yeah,
Psych,
yeah.
psych,
Whoa, whoa,
psych.
whoa, whoa. Okay,
My
Nasrid would have
s-
been a bad pick, all right, but let's
my
hear it.
sixth man of the year plays for the Houston Rockets, and his name is Reed Shepard.
Wow, I like it. I thought about it. I thought
Reed
about it.
Shepard is giving Houston a true championship contender, 13 points a game right now in 25 minutes per night off the bench, and he's averaging about just over 15 and a half in his last 5 games. Played pretty sparingly last season, kind of still finding his footing, but Now he is giving the Rockets a true sixth man threat. He's only 21 years old, too, so he's going to be a real problem for opponents for a while. And I'd seen the Rockets recently. I think I was out over the weekend or whatever, and I saw the Rockets for a little bit, and Reed was getting some buckets, and I'm like, oh, he's doing pretty good. So I'm gonna go with Reed Shepard for my sixth man of the year. I'll try to not go with the odds-on favorite as I did for
No, I mean
Depot. So
that's a good pick. I mean, they gotta play him more, first of all. They're really trying to shove minutes down Josh Okogie's throat right now, and it's just like not working. And then Reed Shepard comes in and like he's not the greatest defender in the world. Like he's a bit of a sieve. But again, like you're playing Josh Okogie so much who literally gives you nothing on offense.
I forgot Josh Okogie even existed.
Dude, right? Like you feel like he should be a non-factor on this Houston Rockets team that has 15 other playable rotation pieces. One of them being their third overall pick, who's getting 25 minutes a night and an impactful 25 minutes a night, but it should be more like an impactful 30 minutes a night, it feels like. Because he'll come in the game and bang three threes, and you're like, why the hell was Josh Okogie just sitting in the corner for 5 minutes? Why did I just watch that? He's been great this year. I was kind of rooting for him, especially after that first game of the season against OKC, where he was just getting completely washed out of the game, and it was kind of sad to watch. But he's rebounded emphatically. Reed Shepard has a fun player, and he's very good. He's a dead shot shooter. He's fun to watch. He's been great for Houston. They got to play him more. That's a very good pick. I thought about it, so yeah, I like our picks here.
Should have taken him then. All right, so moving on, let's go to MIP, most improved player. We already did our most valuable player. Now, most improved usually goes to a player. Maybe their scoring goes up a lot or their impact overall on the team has been better. Obviously, you're not going to get this for a rookie or some vet on the decline. It's usually a young player just getting their footing into the league. So I'm going to go with somebody that we've already talked about on the show previously, but he has been a
No, don't take him.
problem.
Don't take him.
From the Atlanta Hawks, Jalen Johnson.
Okay. It's cool with me.
Jalen Johnson is now Atlanta's top scoring option after Trae Young was banished to Washington by his own admission, by the way. He wanted
It's
to
a good
go to
way
the
to put it.
Wizards. I, I've
Yo,
ne-
shout out the Wiz though. Shout out the Wiz. They're building something. Trust.
DC family. I've never seen a player request a trade to the Wizards. Anyway, so Jalen Johnson, it's his first season averaging over 20 points a game, and he is just shy of averaging a triple double, getting those 8 assists per game. The Hawks are in the play-in tournament for the moment, and they could rise in the coming weeks. Again, I say for now because usually the 9-10 seeds can get a bit ugly as the season winds down, as the regular season winds down, I should say. 7-8 usually kind of stays there, but 9-10, that's where things get a little chippy. And Jalen Johnson should be well into the running of being an all-star reserve. He did not, as I had predicted, he did not get to be an all-star starter just yet, but he should definitely be an all-star reserve, which should be announced in the coming days. Jalen Johnson for MIP.
It's a good pick. Yeah. I was juggling between him, the IDF soldier out in Portland, who is the odds-on favorite at the moment, and deservingly so, I think. But I went with somebody who we've talked about quite a bit on the show this season in the Eastern Conference, and I was hoping you wouldn't pick him because I just wanted another chance to talk about him. Just because I just love him so much. Give me the Milwaukee Bucks. Ryan Rollins.
I
I
thought you were
think
going. I thought
he's
you were going Jalen Brown for a second.
Yeah, honestly, that'd be a pretty good pick too. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys for most improved this year. There's a lot of fun options. Whereas with six man, I feel like I was kind of grasping at straws. But the most improved pool is pretty deep this year. Denny Avdija is the odds-on favorite. Definitely improved. He's gonna make the All-Star game this year. Jalen Johnson's a great pick. He's taken a substantial leap, as has Jaylen Brown, like you mentioned. But I think the guy who's taken the biggest leap and is an actual like big impact player for his team, I'm going to go with Ryan Rollins. I'm not sure if this is still true, but there was a good stretch of the season. If not still currently holding, he's the leader in the league in deflections. He's an active defender, and that's honestly part of his game that kind of goes the most overlooked, his defense. He is just a very talented scorer, and he's very young, G League guy. bounced around on a couple teams, ended up in Milwaukee, played a tiny bit last year, but again, not enough to constitute giving him a huge role or even expecting some sort of breakout from him. But he's really burst onto the scene this year for Milwaukee in a huge way because, like we've talked about at several points of the season so far this year, it's kind of just been Giannis and friends in Milwaukee. And Giannis is probably best friend on the team right now is Ryan Rollins because of how big of an impact he's made on the Bucks in his increased role. Doc Rivers catches a lot of heat as he should. Larry and I are Sixers fans. We know a thing or two about the Doc Rivers experience. But shout out Doc Rivers for seeing something in a young player, which he seldomly does. But he sure did with Ryan Rollins. He's played a ton this year, and again, a great shooter, great feel for the game already. He's big, he's long, and it shows up on offense. It shows up on defense with the deflections. He's just an all-around very solid player, and I think his points per game has increased like 3 times. Yeah, I think he's out of all the big impact players, I'll say, I think Ryan Rollins is taking the largest jump, I think, and he's going to be my most improved player halfway through the season. All right, moving on to our last award before we pick our championship winners, which is not really an award, but we're going to do it anyway because we take liberty here on Diehlman at halftime. Coach of the year. I feel very strongly about this one. This might be the most convinced I feel about any of the awards we've talked about so far, maybe besides Shea with MVP. My coach of the year is going to be Jordan Ott of the Phoenix Suns. I believe he's second in the odds right now, with JB Bickerstaff being a pretty strong favorite. And I can't blame him. Bickerstaff's been crucial in the Pistons turnaround, but the way we were talking about the Suns before the season was ugly. It was ugly to say the least. It was just like how we talk about the Bucks. It was looking like Giannis and friends for the Phoenix Suns. Or more so looking like Devin Booker and friends, as I meant to say. Just Devin Booker, Jalen Green, who was shipped there in the Kevin Durant trade, and we didn't expect a whole lot out of him. Dylan Brooks, and kind of just after that, it's kind of just a bunch of nobodies. But Jordan Knott coming over from Cleveland. Cleveland obviously had an amazing year last year. Maybe not in regards to playoff success, but they had a very successful regular season. He comes into Phoenix here again, not really a super highly touted coaching prospect with a not so highly touted roster, that's for sure. But he has the Suns, what, fifth in the West right now? Here, wait, let me fact check this.
We already use Giannis and friends. I think it's more like Devin Booker and acquaintances. Could do that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, definitely Devin Booker and acquaintances. I like that. I think
Jalen Green's been invisible this season because he's been injured. I think he's played like 2 games, so rip Jalen Green.
yeah, and like again, looking at this roster before the season, you'd probably say, oh, well, Jalen Green's probably their second best player, and they've been without him for most of the season this year. And after that, it's Dylan Brooks, it's Royce O'Neal, it's Mark Williams, it's Colin Gillespie, and again, these are all names you hear before the season. You're like, okay, well, this is like a bottom feeding roster in the West, especially in the West, which is so stacked. The Suns are sixth in the West right now. They're not even in the play-in. They're 27 and 19 right now. They're above Minnesota in the standings, despite having the same record. But even just uttering that out of my mouth that the Phoenix Suns have the same record as the Minnesota Timberwolves halfway through the season, again, without Jalen Green for most of the season, it's just kind of unreal. Like it's similar to Joe Mazzulla in Boston, how Joe Mazzulla has been able to take a lot of these players who feel like they're kind of on their way out of the league or not impact players and turn them into impact players. Jordan Ott's doing the same thing out west in Phoenix. Dylan Brooks has been a legit number 2 option this year. He is having the best year of his career. Colin Gillespie, we thought he was just a college guy. One of these college guys who comes into the league and bounces around on the bottom of some teams' benches, never really makes an impact in the NBA. That's what Colin Gillespie felt like to me. I feel like that's what Colin Gillespie felt like to a whole lot of people.
Just a
Colin
dude.
Gillespie,
Just a
yeah,
dude.
he was a Jad. He was a total Jad. Just seemed like total Jad energy. But he's been quite the impactful guy. Just an impactful guy this year. I thought about him for sixth man of the year with how good he's played. Jordan Goodwin. Jordan Goodwin got released by the Lakers. who are fighting tooth and nail to find impact players right now. And Jordan Goodwin's been great for them. Like I could go on and on. Royce O'Neal's been has been good. Mark Williams, Ryan Dunn. Again, like he's Jordan Knox just done such an incredible job with such a limited roster. Again, they're the sixth seed in the Western Conference right now with how mediocre that roster looks. I feel great about this. I don't know if he'll win. I kind of think it'll go to Bickerstaff, especially. I think as long as the Pistons hold on to the one seed, it's Bickerstaff's to lose, and I think Bickerstaff probably will win it. But I think Jordan Ott has done the most with the least this year. So he's definitely my coach of the year. I'm super high on him, and this is just a really fun Suns team. So shout out Jordan Ott, my coach of the year.
It's a good pick, and like you said, I'm not sure if he's gonna win, but yeah, with the amount of work that he's done with that Suns squad, he should definitely be in the running. And as we've talked about previously, you see how bad the Cavs have been this season, and all the
Yeah,
you can't tell me in one season the Cavs are bad and the Suns turn good, and like what's the common denominator? Oh,
right.
Jordan Ott. And I think going into the season, if you're a Suns fan, you're thinking, "Oh damn, what's next for this team?" This is their fourth head coach in 4 seasons, and they've just been tossing coaches to the curb. And obviously, they got rid of the big three experiment, but Jordan Knott definitely turning that team around. And I'll fact check myself too. Jalen Green's played in 4 games this year, not two. My coach of the year, I'll go with the other guy that's probably going to win. I'm going with JB Bickerstaff of
Can't
the
argue that,
Detroit
man.
Pistons. He has just been getting better and better with Detroit. They're steadily improving, just no end in sight for them. And as we talked with Eric Vincent last week, who covers the Pistons as a beat reporter, he definitely had high praise for Bickerstaff as well. The Pistons are currently the top of the Eastern Conference, and they lead the Celtics, who are the number 2 seed, by 5.5 games. So they're really not going to give up that deficit anytime soon, if ever. Coach of the year, though, I think usually goes to the coach with dramatic turnaround and wins, not necessarily the best coach of the year. So that's why Jordan Knott, I think, could definitely be in the running for that. It's not usually just like a popularity contest. I think one of my runners up that we have not mentioned, but I think deserves a lot of credit for obviously dealing with an injury to their major player. Mitch Johnson of the Spurs, I think deserves some flowers as well. Just
He's
stepping
great.
into Greg Popovich's role. Greg Popovich had the title of head coach of the Spurs for like over 20 years, pushing 30 years. Obviously, he was kind of low key forced to retire because of health issues and he was just getting really old. It was really unfortunate to see, but I think the Spurs organization knew that it was time and Mitch Johnson was ready to serve and he has stepped in. And despite the fact they have plenty of young talent and they've been hitting home runs in all these drafts with Victor Wembanyama and Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle. I mean, it still takes a lot to coach all these young players. So Mitch Johnson would be my runner-up, but I'm going to go with JB Bickerstaff, who is leading the Pistons, and I believe just got the nod to be one of the coaches in the All-Star game. So it's good to see that. So wrapping up our midseason awards predictions, not so much an award, but our championship contender. Chris and I made our finals predictions in the first episode of the season, and we will either defend that or tweak it to reflect this point of the season. So I'm going to tweak mine just a bit. I think I had Thunder Knicks. I am now going with the Thunder over the Pistons in 5. I know gentlemen sweep over the darling Pistons, but the Thunder are still the toughest team in the NBA, no questions asked. The Pistons are great, but right now they are unproven in the postseason. And honestly, it'd be pretty cool. It's a battle of number 1 seeds potentially getting the best of the East and the best of the West. Can't really argue with that. Cade Cunningham versus Shea Gilgeous-Alexander would be an absolute treat to watch. I know ESPN would not be too happy if they had to cover Detroit and Oklahoma City. I know it's not Los Angeles and Boston, but too bad. So I'm going with OKC over Detroit.
You changed your answer, but I'm gonna stand on business here. I'm choosing the Denver Nuggets still. Honestly, kind of just a vibes pick with how much we've seen the Thunder be human lately. There was a point not too long ago where we thought the Thunder were about to break the regular season wins record, which again, not even February, and that's already been proved false. I think they have 9 losses at the moment, so they can only tie it. And again, with how they've looked lately, which again, great team, best team in the Western Conference in the standings at the moment. But they've just looked a lot more human lately, I'll say. They've lost a lot more games. They just lost to Toronto last night.
They have 10
Um
losses, so the 73-9 is out the window.
oh man. Yeah, so forget that. Yeah, they can hang with Jordan and the Bulls, but they're no longer in record-breaking territory. And yeah, like I said, it wasn't too long ago where we thought they might break it, and they started the season 24-1, and so yeah, they're in a bit of a rut right now. I have no doubt that they're gonna play their way out of this a little bit, and they're obviously probably on paper the best team in the NBA. But I don't know. I could just see a Grizzly hungry Nikola Jokic coming back from injury and taking down these guys in maybe 6 or 7 games, making the finals. Hopefully we see that in the Western Conference Finals. That'd be awesome. Yeah, kind of just a vibes pick with how OKC has looked lately and how I expect Denver look with Nikola Jokic's return imminent. And man, I think I picked the Nuggets over the Knicks in the finals. Yes, I did. But man, with how the Knicks have looked recently, it's hard to pick them to be in the finals too. I mean they've had some really rough games recently. Karl Anthony Towns has been a hot topic of discussion with his kind of midseason struggles here. So I'm gonna go Nuggets over Celtics in the finals. Jason Tatum seems like he's gonna come back soon, which is honestly just ridiculous. I don't think we'll see a 100% Tatum, but again, you add an 80-90% Tatum to this Celtics team that has just been blazing lately and completely blown expectations out of the water. I could definitely see them pulling out of the East here. And I'm gonna stand on business with my Nuggets pick, taking down OKC in the Western Conference Final and taking down whomever they play in the finals. I think they're the second best team in the NBA right now behind OKC. And again, I'm getting the vibe of a grizzled, angry Nikola Jokic coming back and stealing this one from the Thunder. So that's my finals pick.
It's interesting right now because the Denver Nuggets are basically playing their G League squad with Jokic out, with Murray out, with Christian Brown out, and the G League Nuggets have been pulling off some pretty upsetting wins. I think
They played pretty well.
they swept the Bucks, I think, which is hilarious. But
Bro, shout out Peyton Watson. That boy ain't G League. That dude's legit. Like it is kind of crazy how the moment Nikola Jokic goes out and Murray's playing every other game, Peyton Watson is dropping like 30 a game. Like he's been crazy. He looks like a little Dollar General Kevin Durant out there. He's been fun to watch.
we'll see how these predictions hold up. We still got a ways to go. It's only late January. We have until the midway point of April to get these picks correct. Obviously, regular season awards. These are not entire season awards. They're just regular season awards, except for the championship one, obviously. But we'll see how it goes in the coming weeks. Finally, for this week's game of the week, let's go with the Portland Trail Blazers at Boston Celtics. This game is tonight, Monday, January 26th at 8 o'clock. We got some action down in Beantown. So the Celtics are 28 and 17. They're second in the East. They've had some weird games recently, Chris. They lost to the Pistons by a point. They lost by 3 to the Bulls and then took the Nets to overtime. That's
Double overtime.
yeah, yeah, no, that was definitely interesting. Jaylen Brown's been averaging 31.7 points per game in his last six. They have some easy opponents coming up, so they'll be trying to stay ahead of Toronto and New York to remain in that second seed. Meanwhile, the Blazers, 23 and 23, ninth in the West, keeping their head above water in that play-in tournament. Drew Holiday makes his return to Boston for the first time as a visitor since he was traded over the offseason. We've talked about the Celtics breaking down their core because of that dreaded second apron, dealing with the salary cap. The Celtics could not afford to keep their core together anymore, and Drew Holiday was one of the first casualties. It'll be interesting to see how this young core plays in a tough environment like Boston. The Celtics crowd is always a very difficult one to play in as a visitor. Their fans definitely get rowdy. But what's going in the Blazers' favor is that a win tonight would be a sweep for the Blazers because they already beat Boston earlier this season at home back in late December. It was 114-108, but I think I'm going with the Celtics here. Tough environment, and the Celtics looking to not get swept. I'm going Celtics 122-115.
I really wanted to take Portland in this one. First off, like you mentioned, with the momentum of these two teams, Boston has not been playing their best basketball lately. They've been in some funky games, whereas Portland has won four of their last five, coming off a loss to Toronto. Shaden Sharp's played really well lately. I still have no idea what Shaden Sharp is in the grand scheme of things, whether he's a player I want on my team or not. But he's been scoring a lot lately, and scoring basketball points is generally a good thing, in my opinion. So shout out Shaden Sharp. Denny Avdia, we mentioned in the most improved player conversation earlier. He's doing his thing. And but the main reason I really want to pick Portland in this one is because I think Donovan Clingan is just such a monster, and I think he could really feast on the boards tonight over Neemias Queta and whoever else Joe Mazzulla feels like running out there at center tonight. So I think Clingan could have a really big impact on the boards, and yeah, Boston is not the biggest team, so I think that could play a huge role in this one. But Joe Mazzulla rarely loses twice in a row and rarely gets swept. He feels like one of those football coaches. He feels like a Mike Tomlin, where he's just gonna have those boys ready to play, and he's not gonna lose two in a row, and he's not gonna get swept. That's just not in Missoula's DNA. They've lost two in a row four times this season, so it's clearly a little bit in his DNA. But I think he'll have those boys ready to go tonight, ready to fight. He'll have Neemias Queta ready to go out there and slam his big cheeks against the hips of Donovan Clingan and be able to box him out and neutralize maybe one of Portland's greatest advantages on the Celtics. So I'm gonna take Boston too. What'd you take them? 122 to 115, a 7 point margin. I'm gonna go with Boston 118, 116 out there. I think it'll be a real close game tonight. Again, I think Clingan could be the difference here, down on the boards. But yeah, I just like Missoula's odds of getting these boys riled up, ready to play tonight a little better than I like Tiago Splitter's odds. So yeah, give me Boston as well. I'll tell you on that one.
So, two things with that. Number one, I think we're getting closer with these game of the week predictions. Last week we had Lakers Clippers,
I
and
beat you on that. Wait, did I? I think I
well,
did.
okay, so the final score was Clippers 112-104. So we both had a 112 in there. I said Clippers 115-112, and then you had Clippers 122-112. So we both had the Clippers, we both had the Lakers scoring 112, but you were a little bit closer in terms of the point spread.
Yeah, that's right.
My second point is that, as with Mike Tomlin, at least Joe Mazzulla is not going 9-8 or 10-7 and losing in the first round. Just saying.
Hey. Tomlin wasn't quite doing that at the beginning of his career like Missoula is now. Who knows? Maybe in 10 years we'll be talking about the Celtics. Man, why are they going 46 and 38 every season?
Maybe,
Just
and
like
then maybe we'll see like the Wizards or the Pacers leading the Eastern Conference, and Celtics are the eighth seed or something. Yeah.
when pigs fly.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you haven't already, make sure to follow the podcast accounts, Chris and me, on social media. The three podcast accounts on Instagram, TikTok, and X or Twitter are under @Diehlman@half. My personal X and Instagram are at Larry Diehlman. Chris's personal X and Instagram are at Chris Dippy. All seven handles are in the description on Buzzsprout, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, although you can find Dealman at halftime on major podcasting platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, the main podcast website is on Buzzsprout. The website URL is dealman@halftime.buzzsprout.com. Feel free to send a comment by using the Send Us a Text button located in each episode's bio. With the exception of Apple Podcasts, the text option is available on Buzzsprout and all of the major platforms. Your comment could end up in the fan mail section of the Buzzsprout website. And don't forget to spread the word about Dealman at halftime. See you next time, fellow Hoops fans.